Hello everybody, I am Angry Bird, and what a battle we have in store today. It is Yuejin on the left hand side playing the 2nd French Armoured, up against Gonzo on the right hand side playing the 6th Airborne. So we have the Battle of Waterloo all over again, the French versus the British. I want all you French and all you British fans out there to don your hats. I don't know what I'm saying, just support your team. And let's see who comes out on top this time. Will the French surrender, or will the British be destroyed in the eastern shores of Dunkirk? I don't know. Enough of that. Right, so on the left hand side we have Yuejin playing the 2nd French Armoured on Vanguard income. Vanguard up against Gonzo, so he's going to be pushing hard early, but really it's probably the only way to play this French deck. They just lack in infantry to play over anything but Vanguard. That's my feeling on the matter. 68 infantry units in total. I mean, in previous metas, I think that's reasonable. I mean, it is still fairly short, but I think that was reasonable. But in the current meta, when we're seeing like 120 infantry plus in some decks, then yeah, I think 68, well, I mean, it's half that. 40 Shermans of all different kinds. Well, M4A2s and M4A3s. Also some M10 tank destroyers in the anti-tank tab. I mean, you all know the French deck. It's been around for such a long time now. How many years since Normandy? It's been a while. Let's have a look at that. Oh wait, yeah, the 6th Airborne. that's been around a while as well, hasn't it? We all know these decks, we all love these decks. Difference in this game, Gonzo playing flatline, so Yuejin Vanguard, expect the early pushes from Yuejin. Gonzo playing flatline. He's got 93 units in total, so about 30 more than the French, but some of the infantry does lack in the squad size. Well, I say some, mainly the glider crew. But they're all in A phase. He does have those AB snipers, Tetrox. They can be a little bit challenging to micro. They should come off well against, you know, they can certainly defeat the French armor, but you know, you have to micro them a little bit more than normal tanks because they lack those HE weapons, so they can go down to anti-tank guns rather easily. Cromwell's in there and challengers as well. I think overall the French have it early on the tank stage. I think when those challengers come in, the balance kind of tips to the 6th Airborne, but it may be too late at that stage, depending on how Yuejin advances. Lots of 6-pounders and lots of 17-pounders. This deck's probably one of the best anti-tank gun decks in the game. Those 6-pounders will stand up incredibly well against Shermans, and I'm kind of surprised he opted for the 17-pounders in B and not a further card of 6-pounders, because I think he could have saved some points there. He would have got 8 6-pounders in B if I remember correctly off the top of my head, and they cost less than the 17-pounders, so I'm kind of surprised about that. Maybe you only get 2, maybe I'm not 100% on the deck, but yeah, I think that's probably well, how do you suggest changes to Gonzo's deck? It's impossible. He is like the best player in the game, arguably, after winning season 2. So yeah, it's hard to well, I wouldn't say criticize with it. Oh my god, what am I saying? Big off-map cards though, that is one of the big strengths of the 6th Airborne. Those Typhoon AT rocket planes as well, they're a pretty big strength, but the off-map, I'm sure that will come into play. The game is underway. Let's quickly recap. On the left hand side in blue, we have Yuejin playing the French on Vanguard income. looks like he's going stronger down south. On the right hand side in red, we have Gonzo playing the 6th Airborne on flatline income. So Gonzo's going to be playing a little bit for the longer game than Yuejin, but don't discount his aggressiveness. A very aggressive player. We know that well from Normandy, but it looks like Yuejin is choosing the south as his area of operation early on in this game, and the Voltigeurs look like they are actually going to overwhelm these flamethrowers in here. I think he is going to pick up that flag. A lot of infantry has been caught out from Gonzo early on. There's just 2 6-pounders in here to defend against the onslaught of Yuejin's forces, and he could make a lot of ground. The mortar 60mm coming in now with those mortar strikes onto the 6-pounder, but also onto the retreating infantry. That is going to hurt Gonzo. He has a substantial force up north though, so actually he can counter this southern push. Yuejin investing with a Sherman up there, but there is a massive amount of troops up north for Gonzo. That's obviously where he expected the push to come. That's why he's weak down south. This is going to be a tale of 2 flanks, that is for sure. So the 6-pounders, they are still alive right now, but now the guns of those Shermans and M8s and M3s do come down. The flamethrowers have gone. Can Yuejin make it further forwards into a defensible position, pick up more flags down on the southern side? Gonzo does react, but he does counter the push on the south with his push up north, picks up the flag from Yuejin and equals the score 12-12. Yuejin at 13-11 now, thanks to this further southern flag. The mortar 60mm still hammering down shells onto the area that 6-pounder was in. It has now moved out of the way. There is a sizable force down south. Tetrarch coming in for Gonzo, but that can get taken out fairly easily. The half-track should go down, but the 6-pounder, oh, it's not moving down south. I thought it was going to move down and take up a kind of covering position of some kind. But no, it's not in there, and Yuejin can definitely make ground down in this southern position. Both players, I think, will be microing both sides of this map, and very little happening in the centre ground. So 13-11 to Yuejin, 3 minutes 20 into this matchup. He's made a big push down south, but he's not really exploiting it as quickly. I think he's being a little bit cautious. I don't think he quite realises just how much ground he is making down here. There is no flag though, you know, there's no flag. He has to concentrate. I think he should move his infantry up this kind of position up here and look to overwhelm all of the units in here with a combined centre southern push and a far south southern push, because unless he takes the spawn, which could be a possibility here with a fast moving Stuart or Voltigo in the half track, you know, he's not really gaining anything for this territory. He does gain some territory in the centre though. That is an advantage he has taken. Gonzo looking to counter in that central town as well, with more infantry pushing in, and the Voltigeurs won't stand up against the number of infantry Gonzo has up here. He is making inroads up in the north. Yuejin making inroads in the south, but Yuejin has the advantage for now, 14-10. Finally, the 6-pounder goes down, but there is a reinforcing one that has come into position. The Sherman goes down and Yuejin does push his forces further up north. I think that was the right call. I would be interested in sending the Voltigeurs down, you know, trying to unload it in this forest and edge it through, but Gonzo has now, yeah, he's sending his forces in to protect this flag. Yuejin could cut the spawn here if he is aggressive enough, but it's all about risk and reward here, and right now I think Yuejin thinks it's too much of a risk to push for that spawn and not enough of a reward. Gonzo just pushing over open ground right now. Does pick up a flag all the way back here, but I don't think those units are going to make it unless this Sherman goes down, which it might do to the 6-pounder up here, and it does go down. Gonzo now is going to be unopposed in his push across the open ground in the very north, as well as infantry pushing through this centre town. What a fantastic start to this game. Will Yuejin push through to the spawn? And will Gonzo do it up in the north? I think he's much further away than Yuejin, but look at the forces Yuejin has down here. He just doesn't understand. He's got so many forces compared to Gonzo. If he just fast moves everything, he has these spawns. He needs to, he has now reinvested in the north. What a fantastic start to this game. Who is going to win this one? I absolutely can't tell at this point, but what I would say is 12-12. Gonzo has the long-term income advantage. He does have the long-term infantry advantage as well. So Yuejin has to watch out. He is losing flags in the north, and Gonzo pushes himself up to a 14-10. Yes, 14-10, and he should take this centre one as well. Actually, no, a 13-11. Apologies, a 13-11. Although there's flags changing hands absolutely everywhere. More mortars into position. He's not even got enough troops. I think Pixie is now pushing for the spawn, and he needs to swing north, possibly surround Gonzo's entire force here. He definitely needs to start swinging north with his forces. For sure. He actually could do with loading up these Voltigeurs into the half tracks and getting them on fast move. Pick up some ground as quickly as possible. It looks like he has got the spawn down in the south. Will he get this central spawn as well? I would be fast moving that half track. Or actually down here and then up through the forest. Try and get that centre spawn. But he has to also defend the north. 15-9 to Gonzo, despite the fact that he has his spawn cut off. Gonzo is winning this game right now. 15-9, 15 minutes on the clock. Can Yuejin hold out? This is an unbelievable start to the game. The infantry up in the north has all gone down. It's just vehicles for Yuejin holding on right now. Only vehicles. Can Yuejin do it? Look at the Tetrarchs coming into the centre ground. I think he's looking to protect his spawn with those Tetrarchs. Incredible. Absolutely incredible start to this game. The Oxen Bucks should go down eventually to the weight of fire coming from all three squads of Voltigeurs and one Nueve in there. We do see some fast moves coming in now. I think Yuejin has realised he can push forwards. Oh, this is going to be a big battle between those Tetrarchs and the incoming M8s, M5 half-tracks and Shermans. Who is going to win out? That's going to be incredibly important, because if Gonzo loses this battle, he could well lose the spawn, and then he's completely reliant on the northern spawns. Wow, what a start to this game. Let's watch the M8 fast moving around the side. Yuejin now sees everything. The Tetrarch Little John does come in as well. The half track. Oh, you might as well have carried on going, because he's backing. He drives right behind the Tetrarchs and then reverses all the way out the way again. Finally, the half track goes down, but I don't think actually the two Shermans and the M3. Ooh, is it going to be enough? This is an incredibly tight engagement. Who is going to win out? We now have a Mosquito coming in, looking to take out the infantry units, the 60mm mortars, firing down onto those Oxen Bucks. They are pinned down. Will they surrender? Tetrarch Little John has gone down. Will the Tetrarchs go down as well? Oh my god, this is incredibly tight. One of them has gone down. Will the others, or will Gonzo be able to survive? I think he did call in reinforcements, but he called them in the northern route. There is a P-38J circling above as well, trying to take out that Mosquito. Who's going to win that engagement? Oh yeah, the P-38. Oh, bad turns from the AI. Bad turns from the AI. Yep. He needed to turn there. This is where the AI is poor. It just follows parallel instead of just turning straight on the back. Let's have a look up north. Gonzo has made ground, but it's right on this southern side. The Tetrarchs have gone down. Will Yuejin react quick enough? Oh, he's pushing up north again. He's not going to shut the... Is he going to shut that spawn down? I think he has it. He does have it now. The P-38J did get the kill onto that Mosquito. He does have that spawn. Wow, what a start. 60mm mortars raining down on the glider crews, and that should secure the area. Yep. One man left in that Voltigeur squad, but it only takes one man to surrender those French. Oh, I was completely wrong. I was going for a French joke. It just takes one Frenchman to surrender 7 glider crew. There we go. Bit of payback for the French. So the spawn has gone down. Yuejin, 12-12. It's only 12-12. Gonzo's lost 2 spawns, but it's still 12-12. He has picked up territory back here, and actually the Oxen Bucks will hold this territory thanks to that raider tag. So they do hold territory behind enemy lines. Infantry coming up north, and that is what Yuejin needs. Volunteers to try and root out the AB Canadian paras and glider crews. One of them goes down in their trucks, volunteering to die to the last men, but the other one, no, 2 go down in the trucks. 1 does unload. Bit of a mistake, but I imagine Yuejin wasn't exactly looking. Typhoon coming in to try and hit those Shermans, does get 1 kill, forces back an M3 Spahi, and there is a 17 pounder in. I think Yuejin needs to he's been reinforcing his northern area. He does have, there is a bit of concern here. If he doesn't reinforce his south with more vehicles, he could lose this engagement down here, eventually become overwhelmed. Gonzo is now pushing back with the Grenadier Volts. Yeah, I think there's just 1 Sherman left in here now, and no AT on the Nueve or Voltigeurs. Oh yeah, this is looking bad. There is a Cromwell in here now. I can certainly take out the Sherman at this kind of range. Oh, as well as the Tetrarch Little John as well. So that Sherman is turning the corner into a weight of fire. Does crew panic the first Churchill, but Yuejin tries to fall it back. He realised the problem. Crew panicked, and actually, Gonzo could push forward for a surrender here. I don't know whether he saw the fact that, yes, he is. He's going to get the surrender. Oh no! Is he going to get the surrender? Surely that Sherman is going back and forward, doesn't know what to do. Finally gets the kill. Finally gets the kill with the gammon bombs, and Eugen's going to find himself completely overwhelmed down in the south. If there's no more vehicles come in, finally we see some Shermans, but it's going to be a long time before they get there. Gonzo will be able to cut this area back off. He does have the you know, there's no real anti-tank down, like literally no anti-tank. The nearest is this Sherman back here. So although the Tetrarchs don't have HE, the Cromwells do, and they can just sit and shoot these Voltigeurs and Nueve at very close range. But Eugen's been concentrating on the north. He's taken back flags. It's back to a 13-11. Crazy start to this game. But he is losing this flag down here, courtesy of nothing being in here. He actually could do with just affording a flamers and sticking it right on top of the flag, just so he doesn't lose that flag. He could have himself a 14-10 right now, and if he takes back another flag, he could have had a 15-9. Okay, in comes the P38J, going to strafe down that 17-pounder. 2-star 17-pounders as well. That is thanks to the AB Commander and the AB Canadian leader. Down goes the 17-pounder. Getting rid of those 17-pounders is pretty important, but there's a lot that can do damage to these Shermans and the M3 Spahis as well. We don't often see the I think often a lot of French players don't take the Stuarts. Rely on more Shermans and M8s. Okay, we do see a Tripolston in the south to contest against the P38J. Gonzo has picked up one of his land spawns, and actually could easily pick up... Oof, actually the Shermans are now coming in. The Shermans are now coming in. I still don't think it's enough to hold back the counter-attack from Gonzo. Yeah, you see this Volunteers does kind of push back the territory, but it's going to drive right by and the Oxen Bucks are going to pick up the flag again. Oh, Eugen does have the 15-9 now. Does have the 15-9. 13 minutes left on the clock. This is going to be a tight finish. for sure, because Gonzo is not out of this by any means. He is 15 minutes 59 down. It's back to 14-10. He is not out of this. This is a big engagement here for the Cromwells versus Shermans, though. That Sparhy is all on its own. Oh, it's an M4A3, sorry. I thought it was an M3, so no, that's going to be okay. I do feel like Yuejin will pick this engagement up. Does kill 2 of the Cromwells there in quick succession. The other one bound to go down as well. Yeah. So Yuejin does pick up that engagement, but he's now losing out in the infantry stakes, so he now needs infantry reinforcements down south, and he also needs to pick up this flag here. He's losing a victory tick right now just because he doesn't have 1 unit sat on that flag. Even a 15-point flamer unit could just sit on that flag and take the territory. Bafus down here does stop the Typhoon from making its attacks. Looks like the mortars are back into action, but there is too much infantry. Those mortars cannot save Yuejin for the time being. Tetrarch goes down in the centre. Eugen's pushing back in this centre, but there's just too much infantry right now, and there is an AB Piet here. I think that Sherman's going to be just out of range. It is 200 meters. I just needed to double check that. Oh, that no, he wasn't out of range. That must have been like right on the 200-meter line. The Piet strikes, but the volunteers do destroy those Piet squads in response to losing their Sherman. And man, Eugen's gonna hate watching this. If he loses this game, this flag could be incredibly important to the outcome of this game. So the Sherman's looking to surround. Has he captured the spawn again? No, he hasn't. Sherman's looking to surround the infantry. I mean, the 17-pounder actually is not in the worst spot possible, but more Daimler Little John's going to come in. And using these in numbers, Gonzo's hoping to overwhelm the Shermans. I don't know whether he's going to be able to do it. I don't know who's going to win that. That's going to be a tight engagement. Gonzo pushing back in that centre town. There's just 1 man there, and yeah, not a lot around it either. So this is a moment where both players are choosing. Like, both players are weak in this centre area, and I feel like it's whoever reinforces with the strongest force first will win that centre area. So the Daimler Little Johns do now engage. 1 goes down. Yuejin backing away the Shermans. He needs to engage with all the Shermans. Can't engage 1 by 1. The weight of fire is on Gonzo's side. Down goes another Daimler Little John. The Shermans cost a lot more. There's a Tripolston. 2 more Daimlers go down. Cromwell's on the way in. Will the Shermans win with this engagement? Oh, double kill. Just 1 Sherman left to take on 2 Cromwells, and Yuejin deciding to reverse it, but there is another Sherman on the way as well. Oh, Typhoon coming in to strike that Sherman further south, and look at the Grenadier Volks trying to come into the rear. Typhoon misses. The Grenadier Volks tried to come into the rear, possibly pick up some kind of surrender or a kill with their gammon bombs, but the Sherman caught it. P-38J trying to chase that down that Typhoon, but the Tripolston is in a decent area here. This is still a big engagement down on this south. It's going to be 2 Shermans versus 2 Cromwells unless Gonzo pulls in more reinforcement. We finally see the volunteers come in to try and root out those oxen bucks. And both players finally starting to reinforce that centre town, but I think Gonzo's bringing in more than Yuejin is. It's going to be tight. That reinforcement road up north is not very nice. That is not very nice, because Gonzo has forces up there that might be able to cut off those reinforcing troops. Gonzo's pulled in another Daimler Little John. This is going to be close. 14-10 to Yuejin. 22 minutes to hold out in this matchup. Who is going to win? I have no clue right now. This is very tight. This is very tight. Grenadier Volts crossing the open ground, and that will not be enough. Oh, they will be taken out easily. Okay, looks like the Cromwells are pushing forward, and a Tripolston pushing forwards as well. I wonder whether he's going to use those Tripolstons to try and attack the Shermans. Oh, down goes one of the Shermans to the Cromwells. Actually, Gonzo was literally just about to retreat his units there, and the Tripolston will get involved as well, hammering down with that fire. Down goes the Sherman. The Tripolston hero of the hour. Very bland engagement. Who will win out this engagement here? This is going to be interesting. Ox and Bucks. Oh, they have the HE shells. Actually, if Yuejin pushes through the volunteers here, the Ox and Bucks will win the engagement. So, yeah. P-38J strafing that 6-pounder. Yuejin made ground back in the north. He still has that 1410, but his units are getting picked apart in the south, and he has no reserve line. I feel like Gonzo is going to push through here. There are no reinforcements currently coming in. There's one Sherman coming in. It's not enough. Gonzo's going to push through here. I mean, he's going to pick up 1-2 flags. When this half track goes down, he's going to reinforce and pick up another flag down here. Yuejin is in trouble down south. He is in a hell of a lot of trouble down south. He has to make big gains up north, but Gonzo's reinforcing the north as well, and I think Gonzo's done enough to trade. I think he's traded well enough. Down goes the Bofors. I feel like Gonzo has a distinct advantage now. Despite being 14-10, this is about to flip. This is literally about to flip. We're going to see Gonzo possibly go up to a 15-9 any minute. Am I being too optimistic? Possibly. But here's 2 flags. Back to a 12-12, 13-11 to Gonzo. Oh, these mortars are going to go down as well. Yeah, the south has collapsed for Yuejin. 12-12, 23 minutes into this game, and distinct advantage to Gonzo right now. Mosquito coming in, trying to hit the Voltigeurs or in the central area. There is a P-38J here, which might be able to do some decent damage, but the Tripolston may get involved as well. It's just whether that P-38 can get the kill before the Mosquito retreats far enough. Let's watch this engagement come in. Will he get behind? I think he is going to get this kill. Yeah, he should get this kill. No! The Mosquito made it out. Wow. And the P-38J called back. Obviously didn't see the Typhoon in time. The Sherman may go down here. Load of knockout. Typhoon rockets away. Yes, it does go down. The Cromwell lives to fight another day. Will the British win out against the French? It's looking possible. 12-12. Yuejin not out of this, but I feel like Gonzo has the advantage now. AB Canadian leader pushing forward, just one man, throwing that Willie Pete, but he does go down, sacrifices himself. But these are 3-star Grenadier Volts. Now, there is a second AB Canadian leader in there. And the Voltigeurs did lose out in the engagement against the Ox and Bucks. More coming in here, but you see, Yuejin could have just bought one 15-point Flamer unit, or even just a cheap 25-point volunteer, stuck it on the flag, and then just ignored the Ox and Bucks. But he has now spent 75 plus the 25 from earlier, 100 points to root out this one squad of 30 points. I understand why he's done that. I probably would do exactly the same. I mean, he doesn't I probably would have done exactly the same, but yeah, it's not really efficient. Those volunteers can push forwards from that position though, but he could have just stuck one on the flag and then just drove around those oxen bucks. Oh, there is a, I was about to say, there is a GMC Bofors pushing down here, but it's going to be incredibly open. I'm very surprised by Yuejin's choice to move that into this area. It does have the Shermans in advance, but I still think that's incredibly open. It will fire against the infantry. Yeah, an interesting choice. I think he's confident that the 2 Shermans in there will handle anything coming up the hill. Okay, so still a 12-12, 26 minutes into this game. Has Yuejin kind of leveled things off now? I think Gonzo has a lot more infantry on the field. Yeah, there's just a key couple of units holding on for Yuejin. If Gonzo manages to take out these Shermans, he can push through, and I think he can get the victory. If these key units stick around, make some big kills, give Yuejin enough time to reinforce, Yuejin's definitely still in with a shot here. It's just how quickly Gonzo can capitalise on his current advantage in the south. And we do see a challenger on the field. This will keenly contest against the Shermans at the long range. The first engagement we're about to witness. So I don't quite think they see each other yet. I don't quite think they see each other at this point. Trying to get them both on screen. The Sherman does push forwards. On fast move as well. Oh, he's fast moving to try and get the closer range. He then orders an attack. He will know the percentage chance for him to penetrate at this point. In comes a Mosquito trying to take out those Voltigeurs in the building. He does have supporting Shermans that are pushed down from that centre hill, but that's left that centre hill exposed. It's left the Bofors exposed. Yuejin trying to counter this push in the south, and a bit of a wet blanket contest between the challengers and the Shermans right now. I'm very interested. I'm surprised the Sherman is bouncing shots from these challengers, and actually the challenger goes down here. Another bounce. Wow, unbelievable. I think Gonzo's incredibly unlucky to be bouncing this many shots. Finally the Sherman goes down. Okay, so 13-11 to Gonzo, 25 minutes on the clock to win this one. Oh, the flamers have been discovered in the centre. That's going to give another flag to Gonzo. Unless those glider crew get taken out from on top of this hill. I knew they were getting fired on from a hill. It was just exactly where. And Yuejin has a very loose command of the north, but Gonzo only has infantry up here. So he probably needs a couple of vehicles, and if he does make that, bring those vehicles in, he could make a breakthrough up there. P-38J does go down. There's another one possibly could go down as well, but Tempest's coming in now. And Gonzo is starting to gain control of the skies. And if the 6th Airborne does gain control of the skies, it can really spell disaster for the enemy player. So down in the south, there's just a couple of key Shermans kind of holding on right now. I think Yuejin is being incredibly aware of his lack of infantry with this deck, so he's being incredibly cautious with how he uses his infantry, which is why he's using these M3 M4A3 Spar. He's with the recon out in front of the other Shermans just to ensure that he can spot any infantry trying to sneak up, use their Pierts or gammon bombs against those Shermans. Looks like he will pick up this southern flag once again. Gonzo has the 13-11 back to 12-12 thanks to this southern flag. 30 minutes into this game and both players pretty much equal. Gonzo has the long-term deck advantage, long-term income advantage, but I definitely wouldn't say Yuejin is out of this. Gonzo's forces down south have been diminished. He does have some challengers, some 17-pounders, and more challenges on the way. I think he has enough. Eventually these Shermans are going to go down, eventually, and I think it's just a case for Gonzo to kind of hang on and wait out the eventual destruction of all of Yuejin's Shermans, and then once that happens, I think Gonzo's going to push through unopposed. So the volunteers do pick up, or come into the centre. They're going to face off against the Grenadier Volts. They should win out that 2 against 1. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. 2 against 1. It's all quiet in the north now. All quiet in the north. It's all about the south. AB Paras push forward. The Voltagion Mitre do go down. P38J coming in. He's trying to take out that Mosquito. More challenges in. This is a big engagement. Challenges on Shermans and Eugen's backing away. Doesn't like the engagement. Down goes one Sherman. Interesting. He's grabbed all of his units. Oh yeah, Gonzo's pushing everything in now. Oh, this Challenger. There's a 17-pounder literally about to get into position as well. I think this is now. Dude, this is now looking like it could be the end for Yuejin down on this very southern side. He has no reinforcements back here. Oh, and Yuejin surrenders the game. He surrenders the game. I think he realised that over time it was just going to be a case of Gonzo holding the 12-12, destroying the Shermans, and then pushing through because he had the infantry numbers and probably the better equipped infantry for just sole infantry on infantry battles. So yeah, I think Yuejin probably realised that the opportunity had escaped him. There was a big push in the south. Gonzo countered it with a big push in the north. Yuejin took the spawns. At one point he had 2 of Gonzo's 4 spawns. 50% of the spawns taken. But Gonzo still had like a 59. That was unbelievable game. But the British win it out. Whoop whoop. The British win it out. 3,600 kills to 2,700 losses. I think that is the difference between Normandy and Steel Division 2 right here. That game, we just displayed it. Normandy, push for the spawns. You pushed one flank or one smallish area. Generally it was a flank, either the left flank, the right flank. You pushed to the spawn because you had more of the front line. You got that victory tick, and that's what mattered in this game. Taking the spawns doesn't help in any way. It helps in a small way, but we saw Yuejin take 2 of Gonzo's spawns and it just doesn't matter. The flags are what counts. Combat is concentrated around those flags, and you've got to play for the flags. Playing for the spawn, yeah, it's great to see. Like, I was hoping he would push for the spawns. It's great for me to cast. It's great to watch. It's great to see. But did it benefit Yuejin at all? No. He should have just pushed that flag in the south, set up a defensive line. He would have been better off that way than trying to take the spawns. But if it was me playing, I would have done exactly the same. Well, I would never have been playing against Gonzo that well. Let's face it. Come on. But yeah, if I would have been in Eugen's shoes and somehow would have been as skillful as Yuejin is, then 100% I would have done exactly what Yuejin did and gone for the spawns. It's really hard to stop yourself. It's like, oh my god, I've just taken 2 of Gonzo's spawns. But yeah, it doesn't help. It just doesn't help. It's just Gonzo was probably thinking, yeah, I don't need those. I'm quite happy for you to take those spawns. Doesn't bother me. Let's have a look at the kills for Gonzo. The 6-pounders do their job. I mean, the British anti-tank guns are just incredible. Just incredible. But they are hampered, you know, there's no HE on them. They are pure AT guns. But yeah, I mean, they are very good. Very good. Yeah, it's just the AT guns slowly taking out the tanks from the looks of things. A couple of engagement between Cromwell's and Sherman's. That Beaufort's, that was in a... I don't know, actually that one might have been in the very south earlier on. The mortar 60mm did do a good job very early for Yuejin, but it's kind of... Could he have resupplied those mortars? Got them back into action? Would they have helped him? I'm not 100% sure, but it would have been nice to see him resupply and see what could have been done with those mortars, but I understand why he didn't, because it's so hard to buy a supply truck when you need to reinforce your front line. Buying a supply truck is a very long game, you know, play. You know, you're buying a supply truck, it will come in, it will resupply your mortars, and it will probably resupply mortars for like the next 10 minutes. It's a very long-term decision, and it's really difficult sometimes making that long-term decision when those supply trucks could easily go down to a counter battery. They could get caught out of position, you know, they could get caught on the way. The 60mm mortars might not actually do enough damage to warrant the cost of the supply truck coming in and resupplying them. It's a very, you know, it's a long-term play which could go wrong. So it's really difficult sometimes to make those decisions. And Gonzo was, like, Yuejin had the deck for a short-term game. But it would be interesting to see what his thoughts are, whether actually... You know, just take out that card of supply trucks, just bring in the 60mm mortars as a one-shot use unit, and whether the return of the Jeep supplies would be an interesting choice. You know, a lot of people hated the Jeep supply units, and I'm probably going to get quite a lot of stick for suggesting this, but I quite liked them because you can bring your mortar units in with those supply trucks, and yeah, people were like, well, it's free supply, but then I just feel like it's a tough call to, like, in 1v1, in competitive top play 1v1, tube artillery is very minimal use. Like, team games, it's a completely different kind of game. In 1v1 top level play, it's fairly rare to see a heavy amount of tube artillery, like high scale howitzers. It generally happens when both players are playing balanced incomes, so they both know that it's going to be a long-term game. Right now, the meta just doesn't support it because artillery, it's very infantry focused in big groups. Artillery can completely counter that, but the big tube artilleries just can't fire quick enough to counter it. And the mortars, it's just, they also can counter it, but why spend money on mortars when you can just spend money on infantry to counter it easier? And once the infantry combat is fixed, like if we buffed mortars right now, when the infantry combat gets fixed, mortars would be overpowered. So mortars feel like they're at a good position, but yeah, I don't know. I, for one, would like to see the return of supply truck for some, maybe the very small mortars, like the 60mm, the 81mm mortars only. You know, small Jeep supplies, 2,000 2,000 supply units. I don't know. Anyway, I've rambled on. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this game. Congratulations to Gonzo. Commiserations for Yuejin. Fantastic start. 2 spawns taken, but not enough to win the day. British beat out the French in the Battle of Waterloo Part 2. That's it from me.